Yeah, no, it's not easy to navigate this thing we call life. And some of us feel, very secure. We have strong families. We have friends. We have a good support group. And in the event something happened, we have people that we feel, believe, or hope that we can turn to. But for a lot of people, they don't necessarily come from those stable families, or they don't have anyone that they can turn to, or they don't, have the education, or they might have made a mistake and they ended up serving time in jail, which makes it extremely difficult to mainstream. So it could be any number of things. But I think we really have to look at, I think a majority of Americans are probably, I think I read someplace a month or two from, if they have a job or if things don't happen, they could be out in the streets. So it could happen to anybody, and I think it's very important that we don't, look at people and say, okay, this is something you created. I mean, it's something that we're all sharing. And I think the most important thing for me is that if you can give, it's not so much the other guy's getting as much as there's a need to give. It's a blessing in giving. It's not for me to judge that situation, but it's necessary for me to be whole and to be healthy, to know that I've reached out to people who are less fortunate, even if they're just confused by the situation. Sometimes I can look at a situation and I say, oh, that's simple, but for that person, it's overwhelming. So I can't really, judge that. But I also know that when I walk down the street and I give money or whatever, it's kind of putting a Band-Aid or trying to help one or two people. But there are people who've taken the time and set up organizations that are prepared to really deal with the problems on a real basis that really can help people, like the Ashe Foundation. And so when we can support those groups, they can really make a big difference. It's hard to do it one-on-one, but when you can get behind people who are there for that reason, then we can have an impact. But it's when I look at guys out there, and I remember times when I had my sons, I was a single parent. I'm trying to get my acting thing together. Work was not there, and it can be really overwhelming. And thankfully I believe in God, and I had family, and I was able to. But there are times when I just thought, man, it'd be easier just to give up. So I look at people and I go, they're not that much different than I am. Luckily, thankfully, I've been able to stay strong and hopefully set an example for other people. But life can be a real challenge. We can't plan that. I mean, sometimes we think we make the best choices, and life has many turns for all of us.